How rich is the average American in 2025? Let's break it down by age, and wait until you see how it compares to the rest of the world. Hey, this is CoinRad, and today we'll see why the averages you hear about are often a financial illusion, and what the typical household really looks like. So let's start with under 35. For Gen Z and early millennials, the median net worth is about $39,000. The average? Around $183,500. And if that sounds absurd, it is. Most people in their 20s are juggling student loans, rent that feels like a mortgage, and car payments that cost more than their parents' first house. The big average number comes from a handful of young founders and tech workers who hit the jackpot. Everyone else is still figuring out how to afford oat milk. If you're debt-free in your 20s, you're already ahead of the game. And if you think that's surprising, just wait until you see what happens in people's 40s and 50s. As you may have noticed, I'll give you both averages and medians. The average gets skewed by billionaires, while the median shows the typical household. Keep that in mind, because the difference is massive. Now let's look at ages 35 to 44. This is when things finally start to snowball. Median net worth jumps to around $135,600, while the average shoots to $549,600. $500,000 on paper. Where does that come from? Home ownership, retirement accounts that are no longer empty, maybe some investments. But here's the kicker. That median of $135,000 shows most households are nowhere near $500,000. The flashy average belongs to a minority. So, if you're in your late 30s with a mortgage, some savings, and a retirement account that looks halfway respectable, you're right on track. Then we hit ages 45 to 54. This is prime earning time, the years of promotions, peak salaries, and possibly inheritance money. The median net worth here is about $247,200. The average? A massive $976,000. Almost millionaire status. This is the stage of life where wealth really explodes for some households. But inequality also explodes. Because while the average says millionaire, the reality for most families is closer to $250,000. That's a huge difference, and it shows how misleading averages can be. By ages 55 to 64, the wealth numbers get even bigger. The median net worth is around $364,500. The average? Over $1.57 million. Sounds like everyone in this group is sitting on a mansion and sipping champagne. But the reality is less glamorous. Retirement can easily burn through that amount. Between healthcare costs, inflation, and adult children who still call home their storage unit, $1 million doesn't stretch as far as it used to. Still, compared to earlier decades, this is the wealthiest period of life for most Americans. At 65 to 74, retirees look even richer on paper. The median net worth climbs to about $409,900, and the average shoots up to $1.78 million. It's the stage of life where many households appear to have made it. But remember, averages hide the truth. Some retirees have enormous pensions, multiple properties, or hefty portfolios. Others survive mostly on Social Security checks and coupon clipping. The glossy average masks the divide. Past 75, the numbers begin to dip. Median net worth falls to about $335,600, while the average slides to roughly $1.62 million. This makes sense. People start spending down their savings, paying for medical expenses, or helping grandkids with college. Assets shrink, and by this stage, financial security varies dramatically from one retiree to another. So that's the American story by age. But here's where it gets interesting. How do Americans stack up against the rest of the world? Switzerland leads the pack. The average net worth per adult there is around $685,000. Not bad for a country known for chocolate, watches, and banks, with vaults fancier than most hotels. Luxembourg comes in around $586,000 per adult. Remember, that's a country barely bigger than some airports. The United States averages about $551,000 per adult. Huge, yes. But again, the median is far lower, so the typical American isn't walking around with $500,000 in assets. Hong Kong is roughly the same as the US, at about $551,000 per adult. And then there's Japan at around $250,000. And here's the punchline. In Switzerland, the median net worth is also high. That means wealth is spread more evenly. In the US, it's the ultra-wealthy who make the numbers look shiny. The gap between the average and the reality of everyday life is enormous. So, what's the takeaway? Don't obsess over the averages. They're inflated by billionaires and outliers. The real measure is your own progress, building assets, paying down debt, and moving forward decade by decade. If you're doing that, you're already beating most of the country. This is Coinrad. Hit subscribe and stick around for more stories about money, markets, and the madness they create.